Hello, and welcome to ITIPF. Happy day, happy morning, happy evening, happy whenever this is meeting you. Hope it finds you well. And if it doesn't, I hope we can at least leave you a little bit better. I know that I mentioned in the last episode that I had a lot to cover, that a lot has been happening over here, and I have not recorded nearly as much as I wanted to, even though I've been thinking about it a lot. And I am so grateful for all of you wonderful, beautiful individuals and amazing souls that are listening to this and encouraging me to embrace my authenticity. I need to find where the study was actually done, but I've read now a number of times recently. It keeps popping up into my field of everything, of energy in life, that that like we've always believed that love is the highest vibration, the highest frequency, and recently that has been disproven, that the highest vibration that actually exists is authenticity, and that when we are being our most authentic selves, we vibrate even higher than the vibration of love. And another really, really cool thing that this amazing woman, and I kind of think of her like a shaman, this woman, Shelley, that I think she just kind of drifts through, but she doesn't actually just drift through. But regardless, Shelley told me that she's read about a number of studies that the energy of love, the frequency, the vibration is, what's the term? It doesn't need to be, you don't need to feed it to continue it. Like once the energy of love has gone out there, it will continue to multiply and like just spin off of itself. Like it'll have a nice, beautiful spiral. But the negative energies of like hatred and despair, all of those have to be fueled in order to continue. If they're not continuously fueled and by given energy, given attention, which we so often just toss away like it's this invaluable thing, but our energy, our time, the narrative we tell ourselves, like these, every moment matters when it comes to our energy. And that's what all of this is saying, that like, sorry, it's so cool that our energy does matter and that it is connected. And the power of vibration and the vibration that we choose to be on, and like literally things we accept. And so the last episode, I was like, I owe you guys some explanations. I want to talk about collapsing time. And all the one of my friends said to me, like, girlfriend, how do so many wildly intensive things happen to one person in a 12-hour span or less? Like, how is this even humanly possible? But these things are. And collapsing time. So let's get into it, everybody, because I'm driving and I've got this amazing Thai food. We got the best Thai food here, and well, it's in Peterborough. It's called Thai Cafe. If you're visiting the area, I would highly recommend it. I frankly highly recommend the peanut noodles. But back to talking about collapsing time. So 2.5 weeks ago, my puppy got spayed. You know, no big deal. The puppy's the boxer. She's about 9.5 months. She was like 9 months right when we did it. 9.5, because it was 2.5 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks, something like that. And so actually, it was exactly 2 weeks today. So it's not 2.5. It's exactly 2 weeks. Again, I'm driving. There's some very pretty horses on. They're not on the side of the road. They're in a fence in their paddock, but they're beautiful. And I don't know if I said welcome to ITIPF. We think we're pretty funny. I think I'm pretty funny. It's an acronym. Hopefully we didn't forget all of that. We might have. We had so many things to talk about, folks. And trying to be quick on these snackier sized bites of podcasts. Oh man, we got so much wildlife. There's a deer in the road. We saw a beautiful black bear this afternoon. It was so cool. It ran across the road and ran into the woods, and then it like stopped in the woods, and we made eye contact and just like had a moment. That was very cool. That was not part of the collapsing time, but I do feel like the universe has been so, I do very much believe it was a sign from the universe, without a fucking doubt. Without a doubt. So black bears are symbolic of like strength and like feminine fertility, and of that like divine feminine. It doesn't have to be like totally fertility in the aspect that we think of it as humans, as solely reproductive, but of fertile grounds for abundance, basically, is more of the spiritual aspect of that. So that was really cool. Beautiful just seeing this lovely deer here as well. And but back to collapsing time. So the puppy got spayed Friday. She did great. Saturday she did great. She didn't feel very good, but it was good. It was slowing her down. Sunday she was like, I'm amazing and I'm better, and she ran around and she ripped a bunch of her internal stitches based on the little like bulbousness that occurred, was my assumption, and nothing was emergent. So we went to the vet the next morning on Monday when they opened up, and he agreed. He was like, yeah, it would have kind of been a waste of everybody's time and money to go to the emergency center, like just try to keep her, chilled out, and tried to do that. But she's a 9-month-old boxer puppy. She's got a lot of energy, and regardless of trying to keep her calm, it was not working. And Monday night she leaps over my mastiff vanilla wafer, and which she certainly should not have been doing, but like she was like on a leash and grabs her little pig ear and leaps over us, and there's things dangling out of her incision, and we've since learned that it's called mesentery, MESENTARY, for those of you who want to look it up. It's like inner tissue of the stomach, basically, not like of the stomach organ, but of like that thoracic cavity that we always refer to as the stomach area. An abdomen area, so the abdominal area. So we call the emergency vet that's like 45 minutes away, and we're like, hey, here's the scoop, you able to take us? And they're like, I was like, are you so busy that we should go to the other place instead? And that's equal distance apart, just a little bit of a different direction. So they were like, no, come on here. And we're about 20 minutes into the drive, and they call back and they say, hey, we just talked to the vet and the doctor, and they want you to go to the emergency surgical center. Like, we're not equipped to handle what is occurring based on what you have shared. And I was like, okay, just tell me where to go. And so that was over in Portsmouth. That was Port City Veterinary Hospital. I actually just wrote them a raving review on Google because they were outstanding. I called and they were so calm, and they were like, you can call the moment you show up if you want us to come out and help assist bring her in. And we left a trail of blood, and it was like pretty intense. And Riley, Jersey Paul, my sweet little boxer dog, is like a nutbag, and she's like, I think this is great. Did you see there's all these people here? Oh my God, they want to see me. And she's like splatting blood everywhere. It was a lot for everyone, and everyone else that had to like see the trail of blood. But we get there, and we're so grateful. They were amazing. They were so amazing, and they were so transparent about price. They were like, well, we can call in the surgeon, and it'll be like $10,000. Well, like $8,000 or $9,000, but then like, $500 to start the sedatives that she needed just to be assessed. And like, so we're basically looking at $10,000. And they were like, or we can just like try to clean her up quickly and like push things back in, and you can go to your regular vet in the morning and they can take it from here. And so we did the latter, and it was $1,300, so much better. And I'm so lucky. It was, again, they were wonderful, and I literally went and just drove up and down. I drove like from Portsmouth down to Hampton. I drove Route 1A. I drove down the side of the ocean at from 12:30 to 1:30 in the morning, and it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful ride. I listened to the ocean, I smelled the ocean, and it was awesome. But before we had to go to do all that, so like Friday, so first we need to tell you Friday we got spayed. Monday night, prior to innards being outwards, we I'm out doing the horse chores or the animal chores, everyone's evening chores. And my property is like the road does a 90-degree turn around my property. Like the corner is my property. And I could hear this car coming down the road because I'm on a dirt road and it's a 25-mile-an-hour road. And I could hear them a ways back. And I'm listening, and, I'm out. It's springtime. I'm listening to the birds and all this. And I'm like, who's this, coming down here making a ton of fucking noise here? And then I hear them like skid around the corner and crash. And like, it wasn't like a huge crash, but it was like still a crash. And I hear them get out of the car and they're like talking, and I'm like, okay, like I don't need to like run over and like be a Karen and go like interrupt all this. Like, and so I'm like, I'll, give them a minute, kind of get their bearings. There's no one screaming, no one seeming like upset or frantic. And, I'll see if they pull around, and maybe I didn't really hear a crash. Like, it wasn't like a smash, boom, crash. It was just like thump. And I was like, oh shit, that sounded like someone thumped something pretty good. And they thumped a tree. And so I'm like giving it a little bit of time, and I give it like, I don't know, it was probably maybe 10 minutes, but it felt like a long time because Lou, my Clydesdale, we're both very nosy, and he like couldn't eat his dinner because he was like, something happened over there. And I was like, okay, if you also heard it, like, I'm not nuts, something really happened, and so I'm gonna go check it out. And so I meander down the driveway, and I can see the car pulled over to the side of the road, and I can see like a bang, like a dent, but nothing. They're not like in a tree. And so I'm like, okay, like I don't know exactly what happened, but let me investigate if they're willing and open. And so I shout over, and I'm like, hey, like I live right here, like can I come over and just like, is everyone okay? Like, are you safe? Like, are you safe? That's the big thing. And they were like, yeah, like, and I was like, do you mind if I like come over and just like talk to you? And they're like, yeah, that would actually be like really nice. And so I went over, and I was like, I'm not trying to like be nosy. I just want to make sure you're okay. I was like, if anything, my horse is trying to be nosy, but I was like, based on the fact that like he and I both thought we heard something and he wouldn't let it go, I had to come make sure you were okay. And they were wonderful young boys in high school. I think they had just gotten their license and this car, and they were wonderful, and they were just so shaken up and so scared. And I was like, are you okay? Like, no one's hurt? Like, is everything okay? And they were like, yep. And we were like able to move the car, and they were asking me like, do you think this is broken and this is broken? And I was like, well, I'm not a mechanic, so I know it's not leaking anything because I can hear that I know it is not leaking enough of anything that we can hear it or see it. So that's a positive sign. But otherwise, not a mechanic, so I would recommend taking it to your mechanic. We've got two great ones around here. We gave them some wonderful names of some wonderful folks, and I we're like talking, and they're so upset, and I was like, I'm not trying to be pushy, but do either of you just need a hug? Like, do either of you need a hug? And they were both like, oh, yeah. And I just like, I hugged them both, and like, just like, we all took a minute to like regulate our breathing and like just take a minute. And they were like, we just don't know what to do. Like, we don't know like what to do next. And I was like, like, why don't you like take a minute and just like drive to the end of the road? Like, it's a dead end, and there's a little trail into the woods. You can like walk into the woods and sit on a rock and just like breathe for a few minutes and like just take a take a minute, like regulate yourself, and then you can figure out the next plans. Do you call your mom? Do you call your dad? And they were worried about talking to one of the boys' dads, and which I understand. That was definitely something that was always a thing, talking to my dad, and now my dad and I have a great relationship. But he was definitely a hard ass when we were kids, and um, yeah. Now I just tell him, Dad, I fucking love you, but this is what it fucking is. And that really helps, that laying the foundation, because it gets his attention and it lets him know I'm not just like telling him something to be a fucking dick. I actually love him, and I'm telling him this out of that. And it's wild. So if there's anyone you struggle with communication, I do highly recommend that. Depending on their personality, it does not work for everybody. It's not necessarily a highly recommended. It just worked very well with my father. But the collapsing time piece is that when I was a kid and my best friend and I got in a car accident, her mom was like, "Well, is the car totaled? What are we gonna do? Like, that's the car, blah 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 blah." And instead of saying like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, take a deep breath." And like when she showed up, instead of like hugging us, she was like pissed off and being a bitch and probably yelling. I think she was yelling. I can't remember. She wasn't a happy woman, and there was a lot for her to not be happy about, but it also really wasn't what we needed in that moment. And in this moment when this happened the other night, and I sent them on their way, and well, and also like one of the fire department guys who used to be the chief, I don't know if he still is, but he stopped because he just lives on the road. He was driving by, and he started scowling like, "Oh, these bad kids, and like what's happened, and what are you like, what's going on?" And I was like, no, like we're good, like everybody's safe, and like that we couldn't ask for anything better. Like, accidents happen, and we're so grateful that everyone's safe and all right. Like, that's what we needed, and everyone's gonna be okay. And oh, there's another deer in my yard. Hopefully this little sneaky thing hasn't been eating any of my garden I just planted. It's still pretty well disguised with weeds. Hi! You're kind of stuck up there, though. She's kind of in a spot that there's a lot of fence around her. She's like she's basically in the spot that I'm fencing in for the dogs right now. So she's like fenced in, but she's like, it's really yummy up here, so I don't think I'm leaving, lady. I don't think she's left. Um, but I felt like I like collapsed time and like healed this wound that like we needed, and showed up in the way that like we needed an adult to show up for us. And then driving over to the coast and like taking care of the dog and like basically it was like pretty traumatic, but like being steady and like being okay. And like they were like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm gonna drive up the ocean, up and down the ocean. Like, I don't make it to the ocean every day, might as well get to it and enjoy it and make the most of it. And like, I don't know, I felt like I collapsed a lot of time with all that, and it was very, very cool. It was very, very cool. And there's a lot more I want to tell you guys about radical no-ness, but I just got home and the dogs are going to be freaking out and the puppies. We've been on house arrest because of all of this. And I say that we're on house arrest because like we haven't been able to go anywhere. And if I do go anywhere, the puppy has to be like glued to me because she can get her little cone of shame off. And it's been a lot. It's been wonderful. I'm so fucking grateful that it wasn't a $10,000 surgery and all of that. But I will hopefully even record another episode tonight because I'm always trying to do 4 episodes at least a month, if not more. Because all you folks are amazing and you really inspire me to lean into my authenticity and vibrate that motherfucking high, babies. So, again, ITIPF, I think I'm pretty funny. I hope maybe you did too, and I hope that you're leaving this just a little bit better than you found it. And wishing you a wonderful day, folks. Thank you for being amazing, and take a second to like tell yourself something amazing about yourself today, and like even if it's just like you got killer shoes. My shoes are pink today. I got fucking killer shoes. I got some killer dogs. I got some killer horses. Well, not like killer. Well, we don't have to get into that. They're not like vicious. They're not Dionysus horses, not yet. But I do very much believe in fire-breathing animals. So, I mean, not totally, but that's an episode for another time. So hopefully I will connect with all you beautiful people a little bit later to talk about radical no-ness. And if I can remember, I sang an awesome song about it, but I tend to forget them because I am driving when I sing and I don't record them, and I should, but I don't even think that it's happening, and then it happens, and I should have recorded it. So thank you for being amazing. I'll talk to all of you soon. Good night, good day, good whatever.